Another thing that parents typically ask me is, my child does not sit, so he will not be able to do speech therapy. Do you believe? And I know, and Bisma, I know a lot of speech therapists, like, who've been working from the beginning, as in, who are like 30, 40 years of experience, and they believe, yeah, the child has to sit first and then you work on speech therapy. Do you believe in that now?
Do you think if you, I ask this question to parents when you see young children between, 1.5 to 3 years of age, do you feel they are only talking when they are sitting in one place? Or when they are communicating with parents, they are moving all around, moving in the house, the parent is also moving, right? It's just a natural way of communication, right? So, how can we expect something that is so natural for the child to stop it, sit at one place, and then start speech therapy, right? It's not practical, it's not going to happen. And especially in the home environment, it's all the more not going to happen, right? Because parents also do not have that kind of time to make the child sit at one place and talk, and the practice is not going to be very effective compared to when a child is moving around, is with you in the kitchen, you are doing the language stimulation, you are taking the child for bath, as they are playing with water, you are providing the stimulation, you are helping them learn words, learn vocabulary. So it has to be very natural and in line with understanding child development. We cannot expect a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old to sit in one place for like 30 minutes and 45 minutes and then do speech therapy. So no, I don't recommend that. My therapy sessions involve a lot of movement-based activities, for children to help them, engage in the session and participate in the session.
Right. And that's so what you call, like, that is how kids, any child would develop. So it's in line and it's in sync with development, which is amazing. So Bisma, I like the point that you brought about. One, that you don't make them sit at one place. And secondly, the very important point that you brought about is learning and speech does not happen in that 40-minute or 50-minute session. It's every waking period. You grab those opportunities and you put, you stimulate. So that was a very big point that you brought about, because otherwise it's like, okay, I'm going for speech therapy, and the child goes, parents are in office, both of them working, and the child is sent to speech therapy twice, thrice a week. I don't think that helps. What do you feel?
That is definitely something, not really helpful. And I feel after a point of time, it gets really overwhelming for the child. Some parents even ask me that, don't you take therapy sessions every day? I was like, it's not, possible for me to take every day, and it's not practical. See, but when your child comes to me for a session, I do an activity to achieve a certain kind of goal to help him teach, certain words. Okay, now the next session, the child is not going to learn the words the very next day, right? It's not going to happen. So we need to give time for the child to, learn these skills in their home environment as well. And then we see a child after a week, so we know, okay, this was being worked upon. So the child has at least started showing understanding of these words. Now, he's responding to these words. So now we know that the next session onwards, we can expect further changes. He'll attempt to imitate the word after us, or copy the word after us, or respond to a question. So practicing at home is extremely essential. Just coming to a therapy session is not going to be very helpful.
And especially in a child diagnosed with autism, generalizing, which means doing it with mom, doing it with dad, doing it with everybody is important, right? So that is important. Some kids have a speech delay. How do we know that this child has a speech delay and does not have autism? Like, what are the main... There's a whole long list that I'm aware of, but 3-4 things that anybody would know, oh, this is not just speech delay. So what are those things?
So when you have to differentiate between speech delay and autism, I think one of the first and most important point is the social interaction. Okay, children who are non-verbal will be interactive socially. They'll communicate with you, they'll participate in interactions with you, they would want to play with you, right? So this thing is going to happen in children who are having just a delay, compared to a child who is having autism will have difficulties in engaging in social interactions with you. They wouldn't, they would have difficulty understanding how to greet a person, how to initiate an interaction, how to ask the parents to play with them, right? So this is something that is really going to be challenging for someone who is having autism. The second thing is difficulty in using both even nonverbal communication, like even using gestures for communication is something that is difficult. Like for a child who's having delay, they will start, pointing, waving, using iconic gestures like calling you over here or doing, specific kind of actions, water. But these same kind of gestures will a child who is having autism will have difficulty to use it for communication. So these are the 2 points, and I think the third thing that is really difficult for a child who is on the spectrum is a child having a delay is learning words. Okay, once you teach them a certain set of words, they will use those words for communication for a variety of reasons,
Ah,
right? Maybe to request, like, give me apple. Oh, look, that's an apple. Oh, let's eat the apple. Okay, in different ways. But for a child who's on the spectrum, he would still be just labeling this is apple and have
scripting.
difficulty going to the other stages, okay, or
Mm.
to use it for different communicative purposes unless explicitly taught.
Ah.
Okay. So these are some, very typical things that I have observed as differences between both.
Yeah, but very helpful because very simple, but yes, it's very helpful. A lot of parents tell me that the kids are constantly making sounds which are not meaningful, They're making some or the other sound, or they're constantly engaging in some kind of self-talk that they call it. What do you think is the reason for it? I mean, as a speech therapist, what is your perception? Why do they make those sounds?
So one reason is when children are, making some random sounds, okay, they are trying to regulate themselves. Okay, they are using those sounds as regulatory behaviors. That can be one thing. The second thing is when a child who's learning to speak and making these random kind of sounds, they are possibly trying to experiment with their vocal tract of, what are the different sounds that I can produce. If I do this, what sound will come out? If I do that, what kind of sound is going to come out?
Mm.
So these are the 2 reasons for the random, sounds they're doing. The third thing that you spoke about self-talk, like I have seen a lot of children, do this kind of self-talk. One reason they can do it again is, as a regulatory thing that they are doing it to, regulate themselves. Just, talking about something familiar that they have heard or some lines from their favorite shows in a new environment, like a restaurant, because they are anxious and they
Mm.
want to hold on to something familiar to regulate themselves. Okay,
Mm.
that's one thing. The second thing is a lot of this self talk happens when a child is alone with themselves, right? They are not doing anything. So that can happen because a child may be struggling to understand how do I initiate interactions with someone, right? So even though they know words, they know to communicate, the communication is very much need based. Maybe they want to talk more, maybe they want to express more, but they are
Mm.
unable to understand how do I do it? How do I proceed further? How do I initiate this with my caregiver? So that is
Mm.
why kind of self-talk might be happening. Thank you, and thank you for having me over here. I think it's been really nice, having interactions with you over a call, and nice to meet you virtually. So, hi everyone. Myself, Bisma Shaikh. I'm a pediatric speech language therapist, and I've been practicing for the past 13 years. So, my primary area of interest has been autism, late talkers, children with hearing impairment, and general delay. So, I've been working mostly with children for early intervention, that is between the 1 to 5 age group, and I have my own blog page, The Speaking Mummy on Instagram, where I have a community of over 100K plus followers, where I share tips, strategies, and simple activities that parents can carry out in their day to day environment. So, work front, everything has been very lovely and very rewarding that way. And this is something that is truly my passion. And I really enjoy working with children.
Before you go, I wanted you to know about my app autisminsights.com. Autism with an AWE. And in this app, what do you get? You get a 14-day free trial period to the foundation level, You get daily insights from my working for the last 23 years. What you see right now on YouTube, you get to meet me, hear me every day. You get my audio books, you get my recorded courses, you get my master classes. There's so much waiting for you. And I want you to experience it and grab that 14-day free trial for yourself.